This is Olbermann versus Trump, and I'm not Trump. Twitter must ban him today, right now, permanently. Ban Trump from Twitter for life. This is not a question of his lies or his threats or his psychoses. This is about the reality that there really is only one avenue left for this creature Trump to even have a remote chance to accomplish his goal of overthrowing the duly elected new government of the United States of America. And that avenue is Twitter. Ludicrous, insane, horrifying as it sounds, a coup day tweet. The last 3 days, people are not going to stand for having this election stolen from them. We won't let a rigged election steal our country. Trying to steal this election, we won't let them. Coupled with praise of violence against his political opponents. These are direct stochastic calls for the violent overthrow of a democratically elected American government. Any other Twitter account would have already been permanently suspended. The owner of such an account would have already been investigated by the FBI for violation of 18 U.S. Code 2385, advocating overthrow of government. The prison term is 20 years. Even when the coup fails, the tweets do not. They undermine democracy, and they will continue to do so as long as Trump can tweet. Jack Dorsey, ban Trump from Twitter for life now. Trump's other means of agitating his supporters sufficiently to raise the chances of a successful overthrow to 1 in a billion are all crumbling. The counts, the courts, the corporals. The counts first. A week ago here, I told you that Trump's voter fraud legal defense fund in fact directed donations, 60% to Trump personally and his campaign, and 40% to the Republican National Committee. It was a scam. I was pleased to then see PBS, Reuters, The Washington Post, and other news organizations treat this as the important news story it is. It's a scam. There is an ancillary element to the recount scam. It could work, but there will be no recount in Pennsylvania. There might still be one in Wisconsin, but it will still require upwards of $3 million from the Trump campaign. And not only have they not paid the $3 million, they haven't even committed to the $3 million. The recount in Georgia is already well underway, and Trump is already trashing it. It has to produce a net gain for Trump of 14,000 votes. This is the equivalent of a football team scoring 6 touchdowns in the last minute of a game. Coup by recount is a statistical impossibility. So it's down to courts or corporals or Twitter. And that second Trump path, the courts, has been a virtual shutout. Just for the record, Monday morning, pro-Trump suits in Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin were all withdrawn. A Michigan judge tossed Trump's attempt to prevent Michigan from certifying its vote. The Trump filing consisted of 234 pages of affidavits from his supporters, all of which basically are claims that the vote counters gave the Trump people dirty looks. Trump's Arizona lawyers abandoned their lawsuit when they realized the Biden margin of victory there was insurmountable. Trump's Nevada suit about illegal absentee voting turned up nothing but absentees who are in the military. Trump's suit over the absentee deadline in Pennsylvania was lost. The appeal was lost. Half a dozen other Trump suits in Pennsylvania were thrown out of court. Trump's appeals to the Republican Attorney General of Arizona and the Republican Secretary of State of Georgia came back no sale. Trump's bid to co-opt the Justice Department to find vote fraud somewhere has all but ended. The heinous Bill Barr's own prosecutors have told him they have found nothing anywhere. Trump's own Department of Homeland Security declared this election the most secure in our history. And when Trump tried to get the guy who said that fired, his own illegally appointed Director of Homeland Security ignored him. Trump's 3 most embarrassing apologists, the Senator Ted Cruz, the former Ambassador Nikki Haley, and the RNC Chair Romney McDaniel have all betrayed him over these legal attacks. Each has tweeted about the importance of the Georgia Senate runoff. Each emphasized that if the Republicans lost both the Georgia seats, the Democrats will control the Senate. And that means Cruz and Haley and McDaniel are all acknowledging that Kamala Harris is the tie-breaking 51st vote in the Senate, and she is the vice president-elect, and she and Joe Biden won the election. Trump's response to this? Not some kind of acknowledgement that he has no legal case, but rather the belief that the real problem all along has been that all the lawyers and suits and filings and cases were not under the control of Rudy Giuliani. That's what Trump thinks went wrong. The absence of the shirt-tucking lunatic from the Borat film, the Mussolini impersonator from the Philadelphia press conference next to the Fantasy Island porn shop, the idiot who, as the Atlanta tweeter Alex Cole wrote, would likely take Trump's case all the way to the Supreme Courtyard by Marriott. So it's down to corporals or Twitter. If this was ever anything more than a non-starter nightmare, it has become less than that. Monday morning, Trump's own rabid national security advisor, Robert O'Brien, waxed about how professional the Trump-Biden transition will be since, quote, obviously things look that way now. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs issued his second admonition in the last 5 months to every American in uniform, that their loyalty is not to some guy, but to the Constitution. If you need extra reassurance, and after 5 years of this shit pouring from Trump's mouth, we all need extra reassurance, do not discount the continuing flood of foreign recognition for President-elect Biden. If Trump ever summoned troops somehow, or even terrorist violence to try to stay in power, he would basically be inviting those foreign countries to intercede against him, and not merely financially. Also, do not ignore the MAGA Million Moron March over the weekend, which drew, by Washington estimates, perhaps 10,000 people, maybe as much as 20. Trump drove through them, did not bother to give them a speech. His supporters would happily overturn democracy, but in the only bright side to their irresponsible, inhuman reaction to COVID-19, we have already seen that no Trumpian, don't tread on me, Karen or Kevin, will actually do anything which would inconvenience themselves. So, Trump's hopes and paths are reduced to just one: Twitter. Because on Twitter, he not only doesn't have to confirm that the recounts are happening, he can insist he's won them already. Because on Twitter, he not only doesn't have to prove his case to some judge, he can deny that the judges have all ruled against him. Because on Twitter, the Joint Chiefs of Staff account only has 372,000 followers, and the chairman, General Milley, isn't on Twitter. But with or without Twitter's blue badge of bullshit, the "this claim about election fraud is disputed" warning, on Twitter, Trump can lie, cheat, steal, suspend reality, distribute falsified video, reverse the meaning of quotes, state a delusion as fact, incite anger, incite rage, incite stochastic terrorism. Even as reality closes off his microscopic avenues to destroy this country, Twitter gives him a bottomless pit of filth to throw against the wall. Since Saturday, he has repeatedly insisted that the manufacturer of more than half of the nation's voting machines, Dominion, is a far-left company, when in fact it is a huge and consistent donor to the campaigns of the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Just Saturday on Twitter, Trump lied that the manufacturer of some voting machines was doing the bidding of China. Just Saturday on Twitter, Trump lied that the ultra-right-wing Republican governor of Georgia and the left-wing voting rights activist whom he beat in the last election were conspiring together to commit a voting crime against him. Just last Friday on Twitter, Trump lied that a 1994 voting scandal proved he had just been reelected. And he attacked Twitter. And he demanded that several states he lost should immediately be put in the Trump win column because Sean Hannity said so. Ban Trump from Twitter for life. There would be blowbacks. There would be complaints. Trump would take his snowflake ass somewhere else. But this free megaphone the size of planet Earth would be shut off. His ability to undermine democracy, his ability to undermine his followers' belief in intelligence and common sense and knowledge, his ability to undermine America itself, his ability to undermine reality itself would end. That infinitesimal chance that this coup could succeed would end. In his doomed attempt to overthrow the rightfully elected new government of the United States, Donald Trump has not merely descended into the darkest of tinfoil hat conspiracy theories. Donald Trump is the conspiracy theory. Donald Trump is the tinfoil hat. And he is right now on the toilet, preparing to take his next tweet. Ban Trump from Twitter for life.